have the worst headache ever. I'm gonna start talking about the topic in like 2 more minutes, just in case anybody floats in. I do not want to listen to this right now. I love you, Stevie Wonder, but not right now, Stevie. Not right now. Biomedical sciences. Okay, so did you join because you do want to hear more about the new application process or just some of the changes to the application process? Because yeah, I'm going to assume biomedical sciences equals pre-med, but if I'm assuming wrong, please correct me. Oh my gosh. I should have did my hair way earlier in the day. Oh, that hurts so bad. Oh my God. Yes, so the application process now has removed a lot of the demographic sections that you can normally fill out. So for example, when I applied back in, good Lord, when I applied, what year did I apply? Was that 2020? Was that during COVID? 2021? When I applied in 2021, there was a section on the application to indicate, for instance, if you lived in a protected zip code, which is just a fancy way of saying an underserved area. And now I don't believe that that is on there anymore, as well as there's no section to indicate that you are a person of color or just any of those identifying factors, because they're all considered DEI. And with these repeals going on, they're just removing them. So that way adcoms aren't being biased in their selection and only picking applicants because of those specific characteristics, which was not happening in the first place. And it's a shame, because now I do think that there are some institutions that desperately need diversity. Like they do. They don't have a single person of color in their staff. Their cohorts have been non-colorized for decades. So I think it is important that these institutions have access to that information so that they can start making changes if there are staff available, willing and ready to make said changes. Now, I feel like, unfortunately, because a lot of people who can afford to spend a lot of money and time on applications are obviously going to be considered first. And if you're not keeping in mind or trying to have intent about selecting for diversity, which is a good thing, especially in a diverse field like healthcare, I'm very interested to see how that's going to change the cohort dynamics. I think this year was okay. I think there was a couple of reports saying that it hasn't changed too much thus far, but there's no guarantee that that will be the case as these DEI initiatives and repeals are being put out more and more into the news as like bad things, as things that people should be paying attention to remove. So the application process is going to be affected because of the way that people are thinking about these different criterion. Rather than thinking of them as positives, as things as said to select for, they're now cautious about them and wary of them. So I think it's much more important now more than ever that when you are applying to medical facilities, medical programs, that you are doing so in a way that tells your story very, 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 very strongly. So that way, even if you can't explicitly state, for instance, let's say I was applying right now, if I couldn't say, hey, I'm a Black woman from Baltimore, from the inner city of Baltimore, somewhere in my essay, somewhere in my secondary application, you're going to be able to tell. I'm going to tell a story in some way that it's going to be impossible for you not to pick up on the context. So it's honestly like subtle self-reporting, because the actual self-reporting methods are removed from the app. Yeah. So I wanted to make this live kind of to just help people and like give people examples of how to do that, of how to tell their story and to identify themselves and say, hey, this is who I am, in a creative way. So that way when adcons are reading through your applications, and even if it's not medical school specific, just now navigating the climate of working, internships, jobs, and trying to balance that line of, okay, is this person progressive? Is this person aware and accepting of these different things like diversity, equity, inclusion, or are they not? So I just think that there's a way to go about that, engage it. And it's important to have those skills. So that's why I wanted to do this live, so that way we can talk about developing those skills. I'm sorry, that was kind of long. That was long. That was a lot of information. And please, anybody that is popping in and out, feel free to ask me questions about the process specifically. You know, you can ask about my application in specific, and then how it would be different now today, applying in like 2025 and beyond. Yeah, just don't be scared. Don't be shy. I know I look crazy in my bathroom doing my hair, but I promise that I am a valid source. I did get into 5 out of 6 of the schools that I applied to. I had a pretty solid application. Stronger secondary applications, basically. Yes, but you have to also remember that sometimes you get screened out in the primary. Like you do. I know that sounds bad, but like I don't know the exact ins and outs, since I'm not on an admissions committee, of how exactly they would potentially view an applicant differently today compared to a couple of years ago. Because you get the secondaries automatically, but that doesn't mean that the people on the committee are reading them. So I would say even in your activity section, right, which is a part of your primary application, even there, make sure that you're having these very strong identifying factors as much as possible just throughout your application, even though you, again, can't really self-identify anymore. I'm trying to think. I think in one of for my application section, I actually had in there, because I never really talked about it in a full out essay, but in one of my activities, I did talk about how I have a strong Caribbean background and that I was formerly on the e-board for one of our foreign and Caribbean student organizations. So that was just a way for me to kind of introduce subtly, oh, by the way, my stepmother is from the Dominican Republic and I do know how to speak up to intermediate Spanish, just from that one entry in my activity section. So that's what I mean by making sure that you are identifying yourself and who you are, even though you can't explicitly state it or select for it anymore on the application. Oh, not really losing it. For the other people who joined, feel free to ask what I mean by my video title, or to just ask questions about how I applied to medical school, period, and how that process was for me as a Black woman in the inner city. I'm pretty sure all of my videos are still up and well detailed about my application process in full, but if you just want to ask me questions live, to get direct feedback. I have a feeling that somebody's about to call me. Yeah, my food. I forgot to eat. I did not eat all day. I was like, okay, I want to talk about this topic and I'm going to get on the live. And then I proceeded to starve myself before I got on here. So that's on me. Don't be like me. Make sure y'all are eating and fueling yourselves. Because I did a very poor job today. I think I ate once hours ago. What is that? Oh, that's a moderator button. Okay, yeah, my food person just came. Let me tell them I'm about to come outside. Does anybody else have any questions so that I can answer them? All you had was a frappe. See, look, that's bad. That's a bad habit of people in the medical field. We're so unhealthy. We will tell a patient, you need to eat right and get your diet together, vegetables and grains, and then we had nothing but like water and air. Water and air. You guys to do it over that. I hope this doesn't like pause it. Sorry. Hopefully this doesn't cut out. Look, y'all, I look crazy. I look like somebody's aunt. But I gotta eat, so getting out of here. However, I can't remember if you applied to HBCU med schools because I watched your video a minute ago. And does this change anything at HBCUs? So I did apply to 2 HBCUs. I applied to Howard and I applied to Meharry, and I did get into both. I don't necessarily know if it does because I don't think so, because the average applicant to an HBCU is a person of color.
Was it true I was at the right place?
No, you were. Thank you so much. It's freezing. Stay warm. Thank you.
I got no clothes.
You do. I was in my, you see me doing my hair. That's why I got on no clothes.
Oh, and if you're satisfied with delivery, a thumbs up would be appreciated.
Yeah, no problem.
Have an amazing night.
You too. So now y'all know I'm really nice like this in real life and not just online. But yeah, I don't think that these repeals would do anything to HBCUs. Because again, most of the applicants that apply to them are applicants of color. Now, I think there might be more hidden conversations that get talked about at an HBCU in particular, because there's a lot. Typically HBCUs, especially in my undergraduate experience, they tend to be better versed in initiatives related to DEI. Like I took a whole class on African-American history. Okay, African-American history down to the transatlantic slave trade. And I don't think I have ever spoken to anybody who has taken a similar course that went to a PWI. Even some HBCUs didn't offer those types of courses. So I think that it might change the coursework, the types of things that you learn. So in North Carolina, shame on the North Carolina senators and representatives. There's this bill that had, I don't know if it passed, but it was going around in which they were trying to advocate for the removal of certain studies and courses for med curriculums, essentially that we don't learn anymore social history, that we don't learn about different things related to just social health. We don't learn about any of those things related to, okay, what if a person doesn't have access to a pharmacy? We don't talk about things related to social work. And that's so crucial in terms of patient care, and yet they are trying to repeal it under the same umbrella of DEI. So the coursework, the things that you read, the textbooks that you have access to, those things might be impacted, yes, depending on how these repeals work at the state level, and just how it changes moving forward, period. And I think that that is something that you definitely need to pay attention to, about how these things are being applied. Because yeah, you literally could be learning less. The very first day of my clinic rotation when I was gonna start it, we had an introduction to what is racism. And we talked about how it's not a genetic concept, how it's not based in any type of inheritance pattern. And the number of people in my cohort, these are full grown adults who did not know this. And were saying like, oh no, I thought that you could actually inherit Blackness. And we had to sit and walk through, I think it was 2 days worth of lecture and coursework talking about just dismantling these types of beliefs, these incorrect beliefs. And now something like that could be removed. Like the people who give those types of instructions could get fired, could get in trouble, right? They could face real ramifications of just presenting knowledge and information that people should know. So I would say that an HBCU and any institution can be affected in terms of learning material. So pay mind to that. Pay strong mind to that. I would say studying social health and social health history is very important, more so now than ever, because you don't even know if it's going to be properly taught to you. I've had patient encounters, dual patient encounters, because sometimes at my institution we go in together rather than as just one. You can go in with a group, you can go in with just one other person. And the amount of times that people just kind of skip certain questions in the social history section is beyond me. I remember one time we had a obviously a fake patient. And the scenario was that she lived near her daughter, not with her daughter, but near her daughter. And the more that this patient was going through just their history, where do they live, as I was asking questions, it became very apparent that in this person's patient history, they had no access to a pharmacy and no way to go around and mobilize themselves in terms of a vehicle. So they weren't eating proper nutritious foods. They only had access to like McDonald's, right? These are questions that I know to ask because I've lived in an inner city. But if a person who doesn't know what a food desert is, they don't know to ask these types of questions, it is imperative that they have some type of space to go and learn this information, to go and acquire this information. And now with these repeals, it is a higher likelihood that they simply won't. And that's scary. That's scary for them, and that's scary for the patient populations that they're going to be treating. Sorry for the long explanation. I am curious though, if with all of these repeals for people of color, does it make you feel more inclined to apply to an HBCU over a PWI? I can agree to all of that and never apologize for dropping knowledge. Well, thank you, but I know that I can yap, and I want to give y'all the opportunity to ask questions. I don't know, I've never gone live before, so I'm trying to balance between just giving y'all information as well as paying attention to relevant questions that you all may have. But yeah, my question that I am posing to y'all, whoever jumps in here, I don't care if it's only 2 or 3 of you, with these repeals, would it make you more likely to apply to a HBCU, or at least more critical or careful about what type of schools you apply to? Because I'll be honest, and for legal purposes, this is just my opinion, and this is not to misrepresent or attack any institution, particularly the institution that I attend. But if I could go back into the past, I don't think that I would have applied anywhere down south. I don't think that I would have applied to my institution. Like, the fact that in my first year, these people got sued for having affirmative action by the Supreme Court was crazy. Was crazy to me. Like, living through that, I was like, huh? So I think just with how vocal I am about certain issues, the way that I'm constantly bringing up social health and social justice in almost every single context. Like, I have been a part of rewriting so many patient history dialogues, rewriting different patient encounters, because I would literally read the prompt and say, this is not inclusive enough. You are not asking the right questions to this person in this. Like, y'all are grading the students and grading them on the wrong things. So I think if I could go back, I would definitely want to apply to an institution that is a bit more vocal and forthcoming about their commitments to a lot of the passions that I have. And I just don't think that that is as available down south. I'll say that. I live in Georgia, and even though there's only about 4 medical schools here, I think I'm only going to apply in state. I mean, if it's like a financial reason, I can understand that, especially because a lot of schools do tend to favor their in-state applicants. However, I didn't apply to any schools in-state, and I was perfectly fine. So just encouraging you to expand your mindset, because you just never know, and to just like do your homework. I mean, if you don't mind living down south and like you've been there all your life and everything, okay. But as somebody who came down south from being in a more progressive area up north, that was not an adjustment that I think that I actually knew I was ready to make. So just putting that out there. What is this song? Whoa, what is this? I didn't know I had. No. Next. Didn't know what that was playing just now. No, ma'am. But yeah, that's just my experience thus far. I definitely think that even for residency, for myself, that these are still things that I have to definitely pay attention to in terms of what programs are saying. And not even just saying, because you can say a whole lot of stuff, I need to see that programs are actually standing behind the initiatives that they claim to be important. I am not about to apply to your residency program. And when it comes to all of these attacks against things that are very crucial and integral to our profession, and you have been hush mouth, you ain't say not one statement. You don't have no commitment to change and action anywhere, call to action on your page. You will not be getting my application as a resident. No. And yeah, these are all things that I wish that I would have taken time to consider back when I was applying. Not y'all just coming in here and looking at me and not saying anything. Because I don't want to just keep yapping. I want y'all to have your time to share your perspective and to ask questions. It's a safe place, I promise. And this is how y'all know I consider you my family. Even if you're new and you just found out my page for the first time. Because I am up here looking like I'm just, I don't know, like I discipline bad children all day. Very much auntie vibes. With my glasses on. So yeah, don't be scared. Don't be shy. It's so weird that this is telling me that I don't have any likes on the live, even though I could have sworn I saw some little hearts come up. I don't know what that means though. Oh, well, thank you to whoever just liked it, because I can see that. I don't know how this works, guys. This is my first time. And I just wanted to talk about a topic that was pretty relevant. So I guess I'll just continue yapping until somebody chimes in with a question or like has something to add. But yes, right now I do have 2 mentees who will be in the process of applying for the next cycle. So what is this? We're about to go into the winter. So over the summertime, they'll be applying. And I have certainly talked to them about taking gap years, right? I think now is a really good time to consider taking a gap year if you haven't, just to kind of see what's going on. I think it is very important that you become as informed as possible before you just commit to living somewhere and being somewhere for 4 years, if not longer, because now I'm about to be here for 5 years instead of 4. So I think taking a gap year could really benefit you because, again, you have time to just kind of gather information, ask questions, because please don't be listening to them people. If y'all go to any medical program hosted event and they're saying, oh, come and ask us questions, they have picked their best pupils. They have picked the people who would bleed for that institution. Don't listen to them. I'm sorry. They are not a good resource. They are lying, capping. Let me not say that these people are lying to you. They are speaking from their very biasly positive experience that might be due to a number of factors, and it's probably not representative of the experience that everybody else has. So I very much encourage that as you take some time and take a look at the application process and you're looking at all these institutions and the response to all of these changes in the social and political climate, ask some people in the DMs. Slide in people DMs. Hey, how's it going? How has it been with all of this, right? How has the year 2025 been for you? Pop up in the DMs come December and just have a very real, authentic conversation. Don't rely on the school to tell you what they have going on or to tell you what they're doing because they might be capping. Honestly, I'm in a space of trying to figure out life in my second gap year, working and trying not to allow the anxiety of studying for the MCAT as well, just to see what's going on out there. Exactly. Take the space, take the time, and ask the real resources, the real people. And you surprise me. Yes, I'm having some real conversations because I can't stand when I see some of my peers just misleading folks. Like, I'm not going to put nobody under the bus, but I definitely have a couple of fellow influencers, which is why I don't consider myself a medfluencer, where the things that they post, I'm like, why are you lying to these people? Why are you not telling them the truth about what's really going on or how this really is? That burns me up so much. So please have phone calls, have some one-on-one chats. If you can go locally somewhere, right? Let's say you want to apply in state and you know somebody that lives nearby you, go for some coffee and just allow them to freely tell you without the restrictions and limitations of the institution what's really going on. Don't y'all wait for them school hosted events. So, especially asking your students of color or asking anybody of diversity. Ask the women, ask the people who have like physical disabilities, who have neurodivergence. Ask the people who are actually being impacted the most by these repeals and changes, how it has been. How has the school supported them? How has the social environment been around them? Something else that really threw me off when I first came down here, one of my former friends told me that there was like a whole Confederate flag protest at my institution. Like, they were like rioting at the idea of taking down this very ignorant landmark. I didn't know that. Like, had I known this type of information, would my application have been pushed? I don't know. Would these people have seen me? I don't know. But again, that's on me for not doing my due diligence to actually research the institution and make sure that it 100% or as close as 100% could get to my values. Like, are my core values actually being represented and respected here? Yes or no? So yeah, just lots of shock, gasp at some of the things that I found out as I moved down here. And yeah, the South will not be seeing me for long. Sorry to y'all who live here. No disrespect, who live down South and y'all just love it. You got family and stuff, children, dogs. Me though, gots to go. Take me back up north. Take me back up north. Where the leadership looks like me. Take me back home. I can't do this. So, something else that I want to clarify as well with this topic. When I say that people are really being fired, people are really being fired. Like, there are complete offices gone, positions vacant. I volunteered with my school's diversity, equity, and inclusion summer program, and that whole staff, like, they're gone. There is no office anymore. There's no contact information on our website anymore. They are poof. And that's so terrifying because the program was so integral in getting many students into the medical process, and they are now first year med students to this day. Sometimes I run into some of them that have applied and got accepted into my institution. So the fact that a program like that is gone is crazy to me, because I want to know, in what universe was that a good thing? In what universe was getting rid of a program that supported students who don't necessarily have the resources, the acumen, the background, whatever, to apply to medical school on the regular? What was the point of y'all getting rid of that? And so that's just crazy, that if y'all think that these things are just whispers on the internet, no, in real life, these changes are happening in real time. I need to remember to stay off of the pre-med and MCAT Reddits. Please do. I have this in the video somewhere. Stay off of Reddit. Stay off of Student Doctor Network. Those are some haters. Those people are not your friend. They are not there to tell you legitimate facts and information. They are there to be sunken, dark, angry souls. Stay off of those pages. I made that mistake of getting onto them when I was studying for step 1, and the amount of just garbage and just negative things that they were saying. Stay off those sites. Protect your mental health. Protect your peace. And people just say a lot of incorrect information on there. They say a lot of nonsense. So just don't. You're better off getting a mentor that you can actually meet up with in real life, or at least call on the phone in real life. Don't get no advice from some stranger on the internet who probably in their house are wishing the worst for you because they're jealous. So just don't. Save yourself that heartbreaking headache. Oof. Where's my song? But a positive of these things, these changes, it puts a lot more emphasis, y'all, on research into these different areas, right? So for instance, I can imagine that there will be a bunch of research done on how these changes, again, impacted the cohorts. What are the demographics looking like? I'm sure that there will be a lot more studies around the concept of implicit bias and just how having these removals and repeals are affecting the day-to-day. So that will be, I can foresee a huge wealth of research to get into. And it's never too early to start research. You can start in undergrad. And these types of subjects aren't something that you have to do cold experiments with, right? Like you can literally just do like meta-analysis. You can do lit reviews, see what people are saying and summarize what people are saying, because these are now all going to be very relevant topics. So putting that out there as well. And become a mentor. Do that too. Grab yourself a mentee. I be having to pause the yap so that y'all can respond. And I don't just like float into one tangent into the next, because I just be talking. But if y'all want me to just keep talking, let me know that too. Girl, this morning. Huh? Waking up this morning to pause federal loans and grants. I did see that. But like, what do they mean by that? Like, what do you mean that we're just not? I can't. That's just so insane. And I can't foresee that any institution would really let that happen, because these institutions are businesses. They don't care if the money is coming from the government or whomever. So I can't imagine that that would actually hold up in any sense. Yeah, because I can't pick a med school being like, yeah, it's okay that we don't get our money. As much as my tuition be costing and they getting that money times 100, I cannot foresee them being like, yeah, it's fine to no more grants, no more loans. So we'll see how that progresses. I know they better fix it before I come back in May. I know that. If it really is real, because that's insane. I also saw something about how federal funded programs, period, are apparently supposed to be coming to some sort of halt. And a lot of people were worried about SNAP and other financial assistance benefits, Medicaid, Medicare, different types of funding in that sense. And it excluded student loans and grants, but didn't specify that at first. See, and like, why are we just like talking? I just know, imagine if as a doctor, I went in and didn't clarify everything that I said. And I just started freaking the patients out. Like, I'm leaving out important, pertinent information as I deliver news to a patient. They would fire me so quick. And so I don't understand how a federal government, how a higher institution is allowed to do these types of things, to just kind of make these one-off sensationalized announcements with no explanation. Like, how are y'all allowed to create pandemonium? I don't. So yeah, please keep up to date with all of this information. Stay informed. Like, I think now is going to be the era of knowledge. Knowledge is power. I don't know about getting it from social media outlets per se, just because people can say anything. And like, well, sometimes on social media is nice because you can run into people who do this for a living. I follow a lot of lawyers on TikTok, like a lot of lawyers, a lot of people in like poli-sci, just topics that I'm not well versed in, because I love to learn and continuously and actively learn. But like, don't just listen to your local auntie. Like, that's why I'm not up here trying to talk technical, because I could be leading you astray. I'm talking from experience, things that I've actually done, things that I've gone through, things that I've thought about. But yeah, definitely do your due diligence to make sure that you're staying on top of just everything that's happening. because I know in North Carolina, these were things that were already happening since last year. Oh, not my teeth being weak. Where the governor was already making a bunch of changes to the curriculums here. Like, these are things that people have lobbied against and protested against. Like, it's been happening since last year. But obviously, that's because I pay attention to my environment and what's going on around me. And so should y'all. Please. Let me go check my email because this is news to me. Yeah. I'm actually not a fan of like news outlets though. This is just my personal opinion. This is not for y'all to take as advice. I'm not a fan of news outlets just because I feel like it's hard to know when you are encountering bias. And I don't like that. I don't like feeling like my opinions about something are being swayed by the opinions of the person that's presenting it. So there's that. But I definitely do try my best to learn things from multiple sources and ask a lot of questions. Like, if you don't know, it doesn't hurt to just ask. It is 6 o'clock, 6:41. Am I gonna be done by 7:30? Is it gonna be doable? I think so. We're gonna keep hope that I can get this done in like 30 minutes, y'all. We're gonna have hope. I'm gonna end the live at that time. Y'all think I can do it? How's it looking like it? Does it look like a lot? Does it look like I'm gonna be up all night? Tell me the truth. Like, don't laugh. That's a serious question. I need to know. Tell me the truth. Do y'all think that I can get done in 30 minutes? Gasp. You mean for real? Dang. I always do this to myself. I knew I started my hair too late. I knew it. An hour? Oh no. I mean, I guess that's not too bad. Nah, I'm about to prove y'all wrong. Because I can get up here and I can yap. But I don't want to be yapping and doing my hair. Like, do y'all see these? Do y'all see this? When people ask me, oh, like, what's your arm routine? This. I don't actually work out my upper body like that. I just do my hair. And that's how I'm so built and buff. About 45 minutes. Okay, so we have some compromise in the chat. I like that. Thank y'all for believing in me and supporting me. Because be a content creator, they said. And then I always have to look presentable, so I can't just not do my hair. Oh my gosh. Speaking of my hair, I actually wore my afro out on purpose in my med school ID. And I do try my best to wear my real hair or just Afrocentric things to conferences. And my tattoos are always on display. Yep. Because this is how you accept me. You thought that I would be a good doctor looking just like this. And I'm going to do that. So I do like doing my hair. I do like using her as just like a statement of my identity. But oh Lord, she take a lot of work. Oh, she takes so much work. I shouldn't have cut it off. That man stressed me out. And cut it off. Word to the wise. Don't let people stress you out either. During your application process, let that be a protected space of peace. Do not let people irritate you, get you mad, lock in. Because, oh my gosh. I said this in the upload that I lost my hearing and even now, I can still occasionally lose my hearing because I developed like a nervous tick almost that when I'm overly stressed, it'll just start thumping. Like my tympanic membrane will start pulsing from stress. So please, keep that to a minimal. I have not heard this. Has anyone ever said anything rude to you about your tattoos? Not directly. I've had insinuations. I've had helpful suggestions, but nobody has ever been like, ugh, or anything. I've definitely had people say like, oh, like you might want to wear, you know, like a turtleneck. Or like even just from my physique, right? Like I think it's pretty obvious that I'm a pretty like well-built woman. And so I remember one time, and this, I did make a video about this. I had on a dress and it did show a lot of my tattoos because it was short sleeved. I think it was short enough to show this tattoo on my leg. And so it was recommended that I just not. And it used to bother me, but it's like, I understand the mentality of the field is just slow to change and get with the times. But then I feel a lot better because my patients love them. Like anytime that I'm in the clinic, especially because I work a lot with athletes and that's the population that I want to work with, they love my tattoos. We can talk all day long about it. Like, oh, did this hurt? What's the meaning behind that one? And I think because the patients enjoy being around me, that it's very hard for anybody else to say something to me, because it's like the patient interaction is going smooth. The patient rapport is there. So then for you to kind of jump and complain about my, like, you know what I mean? It would just make you look crazy. So I think I have almost a protection because of my patients and because of the way that I can interact with people, that I haven't heard any direct statements about my tattoos. I've had some people ask me why, especially women. A lot of women in medicine have been like, oh, like, what made you do that? What made you do that? What made you get that tattoo? How come you put that up there? And then I usually kind of respond with, what made you want to have a baby in school? What made you want to have a baby in residency? Why would you do that? Like, you're asking me questions about my choices the same way that you wouldn't want somebody to question you about yours. Why do my choices offend you, but you want yours to be respected? So I have a very zero tolerance policy when people try to like tiptoe around wanting to say something disrespectful to me. Like, no. Say it with your chest, or don't say it at all. So no, nobody has. I don't encourage people though to like go get tattoos at a bunch of obvious places though. Like I can't say that. I got these when I was young. I want to say that my last tattoo was this one, and I got it in 2021. I got it the day or two after I found out that I was officially accepted into med school, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be my last one and done. Happy. Actually, I got two of them at the same time. I got this one and I got this one, and then I was like, okay, I'm done now. But that's just because I know how I am. I knew what it would come with, and I just didn't care. I cannot say, oh yeah, go get a bunch of tattoos, make them visible, make them big. Like I have some very big tattoos at that. I cannot recommend that if you are somebody that is hyper aware of people's eyes on you, because I definitely be feeling it. They may not say something, but I can come into a room and just like feel feel people's opinions for sure. That's my song. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, no, I don't know. Definitely about an hour, because my hair, every time I dig in here, it's feeling thicker and thicker in the middle. I forgot about that. God. Does anybody have any like application insecurities or just things that they worry about? Like the same way that you asked me, has anybody ever said anything rude to me about my tattoos? Do y'all have anything individually or just in your personal life that you're like, I wonder how people in this field feel about this? Because I think that there's no way for medicine to repair its reputation of not being like snobby and uppity. So does anybody have any personal concerns that I can maybe help answer? Ouch. No, I'm guessing you don't. Nothing you can think of. Like, look at how nice it's gonna look. Well, let me not say how nice it's gonna look once I'm all done. But like, look how small my head is, y'all. Give it very much peanut. Ouch. Now I'm sitting here reflecting on my application process now, since that was like the topic, and just like things that I thought about as I was applying that I was worried about. That feels like such a lifetime ago. Sometimes I think my biggest concern would be wearing my natural hair. No, but for real. I remember I had my natural hair out in my first year mostly. And this is when I was like, gung-ho, I am going to be a surgeon. Trying to go to the OR with an afro, not feasible. Not feasible. My hair would snag and tangle and snatch in those scrub caps. And by the way, this is also something that's DEI related. Because I think I wrote or I helped to co-write like a paper on just how PPE isn't cultural friendly. Because y'all need some satin lined items, okay? You need some satin lined something. So I actually had to go and buy satin lined scrub caps so that I could wear my natural hair. And I had to get ones that were like big too, because like a lot of times you'll see the girls with braids, they'll have to put on double the bouffant cap. So they'll put one in the front and one in the back to cover all their hair. So these are all things that we just kind of like talk about in terms of accommodations and just like awareness, because how wasteful is it that you're having somebody use two caps instead of just accommodating and buying larger sizes for people who want to wear braids. So yeah, that's like a quality QI, quality improvement type of study. And yeah, wearing your natural hair is one of those hiccups, is one of those poorly quality controlled things. Don't get me started on patients trying to touch your hair. Like literally had a patient be like, "Oh, this is nice," when my hair was bigger and like into the fro, like a pick. I was not a happy camper. I was very upset. Oh no, yeah. Oh no is right. Oh no is right. Because that was a day that I was like, do I want to be in this profession? Because the way that I almost lost my cool. But I didn't. I took 3 square breaths. And then funnily enough, a couple days later, we had like advocacy training on things that are not acceptable that you should speak up for your colleagues and defend them for. And this was like one of the examples, was like cultural awareness of patients and how sometimes they can violate it. Because she didn't mean any harm by it, but it was her asking while already being on the way into my afro that threw me off. Like, oh no, honey, you didn't do anything wrong. You just kind of confused me when you gripped my head like a basketball. Like I wasn't expecting that. So things that have been interesting in my experience thus far. I should have did a story time on that because it was hilarious. I kind of miss when I was bald headed though, when I shaved my hair off. That was an era. I miss her. But my mom, actually said I probably scared people in my profession. She was like, so you have a buzz cut. The buzz cut is colored. You have tattoos. You're muscular and you're black. And she pretty much told me that I needed to pick a struggle. And I was like, oh, you're right. I would shave it off again though and dye it red. I'm just not going to. Wow, I've been on here for almost a whole hour and it does not feel like it. said the same thing. Yeah, I'm a very expressive student. I've come to realize that like I really do feel like a oddball out in a lot of cases. And not even because like I'm imagining it, right? Because I do think that spotlight effect is a real thing in which you think people care about you more than they really do. But now that I have been in medicine in different ways, right? As a student, as a researcher, going to conferences, progressing through first year to now, being in a leave of absence, right? Having all these different experiences already, it really is stereotypic. It's very unfortunate. There's a lot of copy paste people in medicine. There's a lot of similar backgrounds. It is not uncommon to run into somebody that has 2 doctor parent households. It's a lot of the same copy paste. And so when you stand out from that copy paste, it's very obvious. Like a lot of attitudes, energies, eyeballs are drawn to you because you stand out so much just by like not having the same background or resources as your peers. It's very weird. Like the very first year in which we were talking about spring break and, oh, where's everybody going on the holiday? And they were just like normal. Oh, I'm going to Europe to backpack around Europe for 3 weeks. I'm going to go stay in my summer home in Romania. And I was sitting here panicking about the cost of a flight to go to Jamaica. And like their attitude was very much like, oh, she not like us. She not one of us. So it can get very obvious when you don't fit the norm and status quo. So that is also something to pay attention to if you are a person from a diverse background. Hey friend, I'm applying this year. Hey, I didn't even know that you wanted to apply. Please keep up with your makeup skills and artistry and just all of that as you apply and once you get in. Because, like, I don't know about y'all, but I get sick of the med influencers. I do. Y'all got to allow me this vent real quick. The med influencers make me so mad because they perpetuate this stereotypic nonsense. They do. So please, if you are a person that content creates or just has different ideas, continue to do that because we need that. Medicine needs that. Please offer a different personality. I beg of you, please come with some laughter, come with some cooking skills, teach us a new language, do something because yeah, that copy paste, cookie cutter mold, very suffocating. Literally, I've met so many pre-meds like that too. Yeah, I feel like I can't even relate to the other pre-meds at my school. See? And that's an unfortunate thing and goes back to the topic of tonight about diversity, in that when you are not actively selecting for difference, you unconsciously continue to pick what you're familiar with, right? There's a reason why surgeons all tend to have the same type of attitude, because they're picking and choosing what is familiar to them. And what is familiar in medicine is being rich, being out of touch. And like, yeah, some of these people are very intelligent. Sure, I'll give them that. I'm not knocking anybody's ability to score a 528 on the MCAT and only studied for 2 days tops. I'm not doubting that people do that. The problem is that can't be the only thing that we care about, bro. Because our patients don't care about that. They don't. So we can't be so consumed with these copy paste characteristics that we are choking out and suffocating the field. Because I always, y'all know this if you've been on my channel, obviously, that I don't necessarily get along with people in this field, nor do I care to anymore. Because it's just like, brother, Of course, I can't fit the normal aesthetic of whatever organizational part of, like, I'm in the Navy right now, and if I was, you would never know. And that's what I'm saying. My whole goal is that I look very normal on my day off. Unless you catch me in my white coat, I want you to think that I'm just a sister down the block. I want you to think of me as your friendly neighbor, as your sister, your friend. I do not want you treating me like my job, because that's my personality. I love what I do. I can't wait to do more of it in the clinical setting, in the clinical space, and have my own patients. But I have a personality and a life outside of my job. And a lot of people in medicine forget that. A lot of people in medicine are so hyper-focused on, again, these stereotypic normative things and keeping up the status quo. And that's why they're so anti-diversity.